What the narcissist sweeps under the carpet. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, sweeping under the carpet or sweeping under the rug, this is an expression perhaps you have heard of in the past. Maybe you didn't know what it meant, maybe you do. I'll explain it to you right now in a nutshell. When you're sweeping something underneath the carpet or underneath the rug, it means you just want it out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to address it. You want to take the easy way out. You want to act like it isn't there, or it didn't happen, or it doesn't exist. I'll give you some examples of sweeping something under the carpet that perhaps you experienced in your life way before you met the narcissist. Here's one right now. You're in school, you're studying for a test, or you should be. And let's say you neglected your studies and the test is coming up tomorrow in third period and you're not ready for it. Well, you now know the clock is ticking, it's bedtime, and you didn't study. So are you going to pass? I hope you do, but you probably didn't. Maybe you scraped by with a D or a C minus or something, but you see, you try to sweep that under the carpet. You try to act like everything would be fine, but when that test came, I can assure you, you were not on your A game because you weren't prepared. One example. Another example would be maybe with a credit card bill. Let's hope that you are not in credit card debt right now. If you are, you really should try to get out of it. I too was in credit card debt via financial abuse. It took me quite a while to unravel that and get myself out of it. I'm out. I've done a great job with rebuilding my finances, and my hope is that's what you've done too. But let's say that you were and or are in credit card debt. You get that credit card bill every month, whether it's via snail mail or maybe it's sent to your app these days, I can't tell you. Then you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with this. Oh my gosh, it just keeps getting bigger. What am I going to do? The interest is mounting up. Well, see, I was there. I know what it's like. That's when you try to sweep something under the carpet or the rug, and you'll deal with it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes until the credit card company is knocking on your door saying, hey, pay up. Or until you get an F in that test and your teacher's like, what'd you do? You have such talent. You have such promise. You're so intelligent. Why don't you study? Fast forward, flip it now to the narcissistic relationship. This is all these creatures want to do, is sweep everything under the carpet. You see, with the narcissist, you're not going to get transparency. You're not going to get honesty. You're not going to get forthrightness. You're not going to get clarity. You're not going to get one-on-one or commitment. What you will get are a bunch of questions. And every time you ask the narcissist a question, 3 more will bubble up, and then 4 more and 10 more. You see, when you were in the narcissistic abusive cycle, unbeknownst to you, you were being abused. You were being manipulated. You were tricked and trapped, and you were being taken advantage of. And everything, and I mean everything, was being swept underneath the carpet on the behalf of the narcissist. In the narcissistic terminology, in the glossary, if you will, there are many terms that we have come up with over the years. Some are newer, some are older, some are time-tested, some will fall by the wayside. But one thing is for sure, the future faking, i.e. moving goalposts of the narcissist, they're one of the staples of what they do to people, and how they can hook people and trap them in that narcissistic fog, in the relationship, in the devaluation stage, maybe even in the trauma bond. And what the future faking is, or the moving goalposts, I'll break them down both for you right now. Future faking is when the narcissist or a toxic person is telling you, yeah, this will happen down the road, when we get enough money, when we have kids, when we can retire, when there's a new ABC, or when I do this, or what. They're trying to string that relationship along. That's future faking. And the other moving goalposts would be similar, but it's not the same. A moving goalpost would be, well, when we do ABC, then we can do XYZ. Well, when you do ABC, it's not just ABC. Now you have to add E in there. So now when you do ABC, DE, I should say those 5 letters, then you can do XYZ. Then you accomplish ABCDE. Now you throw an F in there. No, not what you're thinking, but I'm talking a letter of the alphabet. And then that's how the narcissist continues to move the goalposts. You see, what once mattered doesn't matter anymore. They always change their mind at the drop of a hat. They will shapeshift any which way the wind blows, and they will throw anybody under the bus they can. But one thing that they do, and they're doing it right now, I can assure you, is sweeping things under the carpet. You see, the narcissist doesn't want to face the music. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to introspect, and they don't want to tell anybody the truth because it would be too painful for them. If the narcissist were to actually be honest, upfront, authentic, transparent, and be committed, well, then they would be one of us. They're not. They're the polar opposites of us. When I say us, I'm talking about the real empath, the person who was targeted, the person who was committed in that relationship and gave to a fault, the person who was transparent and not sweeping things under the carpet. Think about this. I've shared this for years in videos. I used to communicate with the narcissist or other people as well that turned out to be toxic, and I'd want to have what I called adult time. Adult time wasn't being in the bedroom for 10 hours. Adult time was sitting down, having an adult conversation about what we could repair in the relationship or what the next moves were in that period of the year or the season. Well, was I ever listened to? Yes. Was I ever respected? No. Was I given the word salad and all the future faking and the moving goalposts? Yes, yes, yes. When those adult time conversations would take place, did I think that I was making progress? I always thought I was making progress, but then I didn't realize that I was in a relationship with a toxic apex predator, yes, a narcissist, and that relationship couldn't be fixed, and that they were just nodding their head, getting supply from me, giving them the keys to the castle, and from me telling them what was on my mind. You see, the narcissist is always information harvesting. They're always looking to learn about other people, yet they don't want to tell you anything about themselves. They're always looking to figure out what part of your life they can blow up next, but they're keeping their life a secret. They're not going to ever be transparent or tell you about all their former relationships, all the people that they stole from, they lied to, they cheated on, they hid assets, they blew up their lives and maybe their extended family members, etc. They're not going to tell you any of that, because if they did, specifically in the beginning of that relationship, and they handed you that 2-page report and said, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do to you, and I'm very good at it, and believe me, I'll blow up your life too if you get too close to me. They didn't do that. And if they did it, well, you would have run for the hills, but that's not what happened. See, the narcissist was sweeping everything under the carpet. To you, when they approached you, they were acting like they were your soulmate. They were acting like they were the love of your life, or the yin to your yang, or the person who would complete you, or that they were stable and healthy and loving just like you did, or like you were or are. See, they mirrored back to you so many things. They copied you, they mimicked you, they taunted you, they mocked you, they assimilated themselves with you, and eventually what they did is they stole your identity. Now, I've shared that for years in videos, and other creators on YouTube and other platforms are beginning to use that, which is a good thing. They steal your identity. If you think they don't, you weren't in a narcissistic relationship. When I say stealing your identity, I'm talking about stealing or changing, I should say, the clothes you wear, your haircut, the way you use your words, if you talk, if you don't, if you're late, if you're early, if you are being respected, if you're not, if you're buying something for them, if you're not, if you can have free time or not, and you never had free time because you're always working for the narcissist. You were on the payroll, but you were paying to be on the payroll. Think about that one. What is a payroll? A payroll is when someone is being paid money to do something, a job, an occupation, something. Okay, well, you earn money or you get paid for your skill set. When you were in the narcissistic relationship, you were paying to be on the payroll. I just came up with that, and I'll tell you right now, it's disgusting and twisted that I even came up with that, but that's what you do when you're in these relationships, because you lose your identity. You don't know what's up or down, left or right. You don't know what's black or white, what's in or out. It's bizarro world. It's as if time freezes, it stands still, and you're stuck in this emotional period, emotional space where no one can hear you. They can see you, but they can't hear you. They don't know what's going on in your mind, and you have no idea. Why? Because everything's being swept under the carpet at the hands of the narcissist. So think about an average day when you were with them. Maybe you were triangulated. Maybe you had to go drive 200 miles to fix their flat tire. Maybe you're hung up on. Maybe the narcissist threw a rage fit on you or verbally, whatever they did in that one day. And I'm not downplaying it. I'm just fast forwarding to get through this part of the video, because I could ad nauseum talk about those days for years or months. I'm just giving you an example here. Any average day when you're with the narcissist, what would happen? They would manipulate you or abuse you or ignore you or take you for granted or all of the above, disrespect you certainly. And then when they would see you at times, they would do what? That's right. They would sweep it under the carpet like it wasn't that bad, or it never happened, or I didn't remember doing that, or if you didn't do ABC, I wouldn't have done XYZ. This is how the narcissist operates. This is how they trap people. This is how they keep people subservient to them, and this is how they steal everything out from underneath those people's lives, which include your health, your hobbies, your time, money, energy, effort, love, empathy, relationships, hopes, dreams, aspirations, goals, and your purpose. That's not even counting your mindset, your clarity, and your belief in yourself. And again, of course, there's no scripture. If you think there is, please get a clue. This is me free-flowing. I've been doing it for 5 years, and I'll do it for another 57 years, believe me. Having said all those things, what the narcissist wants to do is they want to sweep things under the carpet because it's easier for them. This way they don't have to be accountable. This way they don't have to face the music of their poor behavior. And this way they get to get out that big broom from the old days with the thistles on it, sweep everything under the carpet or sweep it away in the past, act like it never happened, give a little mini love bomb, or maybe forget the love bomb, give you a silent treatment to punish you, so you go crawling back to them and ask them what's wrong, even though they just abused you and they don't want to talk about it, but you want to break the ice because you need to, because you don't know what narcissism is, and that's part of the loop, the silent treatment, which is being abused and peppered. So you break down, you give in, and you contact the abuser, you talk to them, and they're saying, yep, this one only took me 10 days. I'm getting really good at my skill set. Next time I give them a silent treatment, I'll make sure that I book that trip to the Bahamas for 3 weeks. I'll give it to them for 3 weeks. I'll use their credit card. I'll get the new supply out there or new sources of supply. I'll take surfing lessons. I will take hydroplaning lessons or whatever else on their dime, and I'll come back. And then I will ask them why they didn't try to talk to me. See, this is what the narcissist does. This is why no good deed goes unpunished. This is why one person can't win when they're trapped in the narcissistic cycle, because they don't know what's going on. The only solution to healing is removing yourself from the narcissist, going no contact, blocking that person, taking all of the baggage, all of the things that were swept underneath the rug when you were with them. This is by yourself, by the way, not with the parasite, not with the narcissist, and processing those things. Here are some examples. Your birthday, was it ever celebrated? Probably not. What about one of your favorite holidays? Probably not. What about anniversaries? Were they celebrated? I can assure you they weren't. Vacations? Not a chance. What about special occasions or graduations or births of children or unfortunately funerals, etc.? Were they attended? No, they weren't. What was happening? Life was going by as everything was being swept underneath the carpet, and you were left holding the bag. The narcissist wasn't holding any bag. They were just sitting there saying, yep, I just made sure that they didn't heal from or process the loss of another loved one that just passed. I'm giving you an example of when you or somebody was with the narcissist and somebody that you loved passed, heaven forbid, God rest their soul, but the narcissist wouldn't let you grieve that. Why do you think that is? It's because they're toxic parasites from hell, and they want to impede your growth. They want to impede your progress. They don't want you to heal. They don't want you to shed a tear. They don't want you to cry. They don't want you to be emotional unless they're pulling your emotional strings. They don't want you to be you. They want you to be who they created and molded. That's the version of you that doesn't exist any longer. That's why I shared with you, and I'll share it again in almost 5,000 videos, that there are 3 versions of you. There's the first version of you, who you were before you met the narcissist. That was a clean slate. That was a person who was naive, vulnerable, who was giving to a fault, empathetic, and had rose-tinted glasses on. For those of you who don't know what rose-tinted glasses means, what it means is you were thinking that life was nothing but a bowl of cherries. It was going to be great. It was going to get better and better and better, and that there weren't toxic narcissists out there, and there weren't people that would try to destroy your life. Well, that was who we were. Second version of you is who you became when you were trapped in the narcissistic abusive cycle. That's when they stole your identity. I just illustrated that over and over again a few moments ago. Third version of you is the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. That is rarefied air. That's when you reach the mountaintop of indifference, and that's where I'm standing, although literally right now I'm sitting, but I'm standing up top there with so many people I've helped get there over the years, and we're all putting our arms down, reaching down to lift you up, to help you get there. You see, the further you get away from the narcissist, the better off you are. The less they know about you, the better off you are. The less that you know about them, the better off you are. The bigger, or let me rephrase this, the smaller footprint you have, and the more you heal and stay in that cocoon of boundaries, the better off you will be long term. Now, all this doesn't happen in a night. It doesn't happen in 2 nights. It happens in time. Just like this. Think about when you met the narcissist. They insidiously crept into your life. They slowly, insidiously crept into your life. And as they did that, they were chipping away at you. And as they were chipping away at you, you became less and less of yourself and more of who they were grooming you to be. That's why healing takes time. That's why the healing path is not linear. That's why you need to go no contact and block that person, because it's going to take time to unwind all the toxicity that was dumped into you. And if you were in the relationship for a day, a week, a month, a year, 30 years or longer, you're still on the healing path, just like I am. We are all on the healing path, headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. You may be a mile in front of me, maybe you're 10 miles behind me, maybe you're walking right side by side me. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is no longer are we sweeping anything underneath the carpet. Not one little thing is being swept underneath the carpet, because we, the collective consciousness, the people who have healed or who are healing, and we, the people who are trapped in the narcissistic abusive cycle, we now know what transparency is. We certainly know what empathy is. We now know what narcissism is. We know what honesty is. We know what commitment is. We know what boundaries are. And we know that the strongest word in the English language is no. N-O. When you say no to something or someone, you are saying yes to yourself. Play that and play it a few times. You need to remember that word. The word no is the kryptonite of these people, i.e. the narcissists, which is why they always want to sweep things underneath the carpet, because they didn't want to address anything. Remember, the narcissist exists in the low vibrational quagmire state. What that is that's an existence lower than your shoe. It's way lower than your shoe. The thing is you don't exist there. You were trapped there for a period of time, i.e. bizarro world, the twilight zone, the narcissistic fog, whatever you want to call it, bizarro world. You were trapped there for such a long period of time, but when you got out and you healed properly, you left that in the past, and you kicked the narcissist to the curb, and you ascended an elevator at the mountaintop. See, there are polar opposites. The narcissist is low vibrational. You are high vibrational. You are the beautiful, bright, shining light. They are the apex predator who lurks in the shadows. They live behind corners. They hide under rocks. They crawl around in the darkness. And they know all these things. Now you know it too. But one thing is for certain. The narcissist swept so many things under the carpet, there's no way you could remember them all. Truth be told, they don't even remember them all. And this is all by design, because the less accountable that person had to be to you or to anybody, the longer they could drag that relationship out. Once somebody, and this somebody was me, and I'm sure it was you, once somebody puts up a boundary and this person you're considering gets an idea that you are getting strong, or you're having a backbone, or you're standing up for yourself, that's when usually the discard is right around the corner, or that's when they begin to love bomb or pepper you with more abuse, one of those two. But either way you cut it, they realize that you're getting stronger, you're seeing something, and that their mask is getting sloppier and sloppier, and that they're not going to be able to maintain it any longer or much longer. That's why the narcissist is loyal to nobody. They care about nobody. All they care about is what people do for them and what people provide for them. And what that is to the narcissist, it's supply, it's energy, it's money, it's time, it's empathy, it's love, it's relationships, it's health, it's hobbies, it's anything in between. That's why you need to cut off the supply train or the supply chain to the narcissist, and you need to get off the radar of them and heal properly. Because as long as anybody, and I mean anybody, is communicating with the narcissist, not just the one you're considering, but any of these creatures, they will always sweep things under the carpet like they never happened. They never existed, unless, of course, it benefits them. Then they'll take all the credit in the world. But if it's the truth, they will try their best to extinguish it, to not acknowledge it, and to sweep it underneath the carpet. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Understand a couple things. One, this person you're considering, they do know what they were doing, or they did and or do. Number two, you need to go no contact. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? If not now, when? Number three, brushing things under the carpet, that will never serve anybody, ever in the history of humanity. And I will give you another example. This may be a hard-hitting example, but it's true. Your health, my health, our health. When we were in the relationship with these people, did we take care of our health? No, we didn't. Not the way we should have. I was guilty as well, and I'm sure you were. Now that we're out, we are checking our health. We're going to see the doctor, getting our tests done, and doing all the things we need to do for whatever is age appropriate for us. If you're not doing that, you should do that. That's what I did all last year. In 2025, it was my year of health, and I passed with flying colors. But I don't just stop there. I'm going to continue to make changes with my diet, exercise, clarity, the food I eat, etc. But if I neglected that, like I was doing when I was trapped in the narcissistic abusive cycle, maybe something would have come back and not gone well for me. That's not what happened. And that can't happen to you. So your health is a prime example. If you're neglecting something, you need to really go get yourself checked out. Do it. Don't wait another minute. This is your life. You have so much in front of you, so much abundance, so much time, so much energy, so much promise, so much positive direction. So that's an example for you. Don't sweep that under the carpet. Just like you blocked the narcissist and you said, adios, disappear, lose my number, etc. You didn't say that literally, but you get my point. And just like you learned what sweeping things under the carpet is and or was, you need to take care of yourself. That's what I'm doing every day, and that's what you should be doing too. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. I love you all. And remember, you are not alone. You You are not alone. I love you. Bye.